Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It was a great introduction. Sorry, the bar is high. I actually need somehow to keep with that bar, which is going to be difficult. So just a quick disclaimer before I start. I will be speaking about innovations, about management, but everything I'm going to be speaking about is just my personal opinion. It is not official or unofficial position of my current or any previous employers. It's my reflections on 16 years in this field. There's going to be no polished, perfect slides. There's going to be properly poor word selection. But I wanted to do with this talk is to bring the message. And the message, it either resonates with you, and in this case, I don't need perfect slides, or it doesn't, and in this case, perfect slides and careful word selection, it simply won't help me. So let's start. We have 25 minutes, and I was thinking how to squeeze the things I wanted to share with you about into this timeline, so I decided to get with the next agenda. We'll briefly speak about different levels of innovations, and I'm oversimplifying here. We'll switch to management role in this different levels. We'll speak briefly about culture. I will just touch it briefly. Agur tomorrow, the guy from Pipedrive, will be speaking a lot about that, so I encourage you to come and listen to him. And we end up with some practical questions about what to do and what not to do. So with that in mind, let's start. I need to set the stage. To set the stage, I decided to slice this innovative landscape, which is huge, into 3 different levels. And these 3 different levels could be called, as I name them, not innovative environment, somehow innovative environment, and completely innovative environment. So let's try to cover them. For not innovative environment, everyone knows what to do and how to do it. There is no challenge. There is no room for this artistic approach. It's clear. If we use this kind of well-known story points witchcraft math, it could be 1. Somehow innovative, it's one step forward. When we have a definition of what to do, but we don't have a definition of how doing it. In this case, it could be measured as 5. It's exponential scale. And completely innovative environment is an absolutely different setup, because for these setups, there is no clear definition of what to do, and there is obviously not clear definition of how to do that. So just a few examples to make sure we're on the same page. For not innovative environment, the most obvious example could be McDonald's. Everything is clear. Or if we want to have a little bit fancier example, it could be modern bank or insurance company. Everything is clear. People shouldn't deviate from the process. Somehow innovative environment, it could be, I don't know, fashion brand. Everyone knows how the suit looks like or how the purse is defined. But there is a big room of choosing and making sure how you're going to do it, how you're going to make a suit or how you're going to make a purse. And completely innovative environment, the most obvious example would be early stage startup, pre-market fit. No one knows what to do and no one knows how to do it. You probably asked yourself, okay, in which kind of these setups am I? But the reality for majority of us, we're not. There is no such a case as a not innovative or somehow innovative or completely innovative in a pure form, because it's mixed. And we need to live with this mixture. And this mixture is actually what creates the difficulties. So we just need to accept the fact that it's a little bit more difficult than we know. And let's get back a little bit to the measurement. Not innovative at all. It's 1. Somehow innovative, it's 5. Completely innovative would be 20. And mixed, in this logic, could be something around 100. So it's much, much more complex and complicated to deal with. And that's actually where the problems start appearing. But let's speak a little bit about management, about the management role here. And the management role, as you may understand, it differs. It differs depending on which level of innovation you are in. So let's start with obvious, like with management role is not innovative environment at all. What managers need to do? They need to provide trainings. They need to make sure that the employees, they know and they have tools and abilities to do their job. They need to create formal procedures, write docs, make sure that everything is clear. And they need to implement some kind of reporting structure because you need structures if you are following the path. Pretty obvious, being honest, pretty boring from management perspective. It's not difficult. But if we'll try to understand how the company, which is like completely in this level of innovations, behaves, it's complete top-down. So like executives, they define strategy, middle management defines tactics, hand-on managers, they drive execution. Straightforward, clear, easy. If we speak about management role in somehow innovative environment, it's a little bit more interesting and probably much more complex and complicated. Because managers, they need to set expectations. And they need to make sure that people follow those expectations, they get a feedback, they know how to grow, they know how to measure success, basically. Managers, they still need to define the processes because like we don't want to live in anarchy. Yeah, we need some kind of processes. And there some kind of complications happens, like people decide we'll do agile, we'll do waterfall, we'll invent something else, and that's not about it. So managers, they need to define something here. And probably the most important part for the managers in this kind of environments is to support and control the people. And more like support and less control. If we are speaking about like company structure, it's a little bit more difficult, and that's where a lot of managers, they suffer. Because like executives, they define strategy. But in this case, like we have room for innovation. So the teams, the people who are actually executing this strategy, they need to define tactics. So what happens next? Like we have some pressure from the top and we have some pressure from the bottom. And this middle management, they need to do this alignment, but they don't have a buy-in from executives and they don't have a buy-in from the teams. So this is not the best position for a manager to be in. Difficult, but rewarding. And if we're speaking about like completely innovative environment, this is amazing. This is very exciting to live in, to be in this environment, but it's also very difficult. Because managers, they need to, not to control, not to define processes, they need to lead, they need to inspire people. They need to make sure that people are doing these extra steps, that they are trying to bring their ideas, and you cannot do it without like leadership, proper leadership. And they need to nurture, support, and validate ideas because someone needs to. I've written about like healthy conflict, and I would like to emphasize on the word healthy, because just imagine the situation. You have a team of 5, 10 people, it doesn't matter, and everyone is agreeing with everyone. So they basically have this unanimous decision every time. My question is like, do you really need this team? They do not think differently. They do not come up with different solutions, different proposals, which actually bring you to another level, allow you to understand the mistakes. So you need to maintain this conflict, not like to create it, not like to be a troublemaker in the team, but you need to make sure that people are comfortable speaking up, that they are comfortable to disagree, and they're not just like, okay, let's accept it. I don't care, because in this case, if people don't care, if they always agree, how can they like invent something? How can they make something better? They will just do what they told to do without any deviation. So maintaining this healthy conflict is important. And to maintain it, you need to make sure that you create a safe environment, that people could feel safe, they could act safe. And last but not least, I've written that we need to collect an evidence as managers and we need to share metrics. Why so? Because someone needs to. If you've ever been in this like completely innovative environment, could you please raise a hand who have a chance to work in an early stage startup, pre-market fit, like complete anarchy? Wow, and you survived. So that's great. But you can imagine that like every day is a new fire. Every day is something new. Every week it's a new company, and you have no idea what happened a month ago. That's how reality looks like if you are in this fast-paced environment. So someone needs to look back, bring this retrospective, and tell, okay, guys, let's slow down and see what we had 6 months ago, for example. And if you are in this rush, if you are in this race, it's very easy and it's very natural to lose this feeling. And if manager collects some evidence, comes back to you and tell, okay, let's see how difficult was this path for last 6 months. You should be proud of yourself. You did a great job. It actually makes a difference. So managers, they need to do this stuff. And we're slowly getting to the most important and most interesting part, which is mixed environment. And it's very easy and it's very difficult on the same moment from managers' expectations. Managers, they need to clearly distinguish what belongs to which level. Basically, like every modern company, every modern tech company, they operate on these levels differently. Like, I don't know, you would like to know probably that your accounting is not innovative. You don't want to read about like tax evasions your accountant did because they decided to innovate. Yeah, they are doing grungy jobs, they're doing it right. You probably have product managers which are operating in this like completely innovative setup, and they are trying to find like new applications, new features, how to make product better. So they are on other level. You probably have R&D, which operates on different levels. So it could be job functions. It could be different teams. Like if you're an engineer and you're working on, I don't know, some core features. Like I have security background, so like the thing which comes to my mind is like role-based access control. If you're implementing this core feature, you probably shouldn't be thinking like, oh, I will make it innovative, I will make a fancy code. No, you need to make it as strict as possible, as well-defined as possible. And on the other hand, the person who is working on like A/B test of a new feature, they don't need these strict rules. They need to make it live, basically. So what actually makes complications and complexities here is time variable, because person, a team, a job function, they could operate on these different levels at different moments of time. And they require different types of management and different types of support from management. So the main role for managers here is to understand what is the level and what to do. Because you don't need to micromanage people who are trying to do something innovative. It doesn't work. So let's switch a little bit further, and let me remind you that you shouldn't innovate for non-differentiation features. Like if you are a company and you're providing a product, you're building services, you're doing something great, focus on that. Do not innovate on something for sake of innovation. It either makes your product better or it doesn't make sense. No one will buy your product because you have excellent checkout experience. People go to checkout because they wanted to buy. So just make sure that you are doing something important before you switch into doing these innovations for sake of innovations. So let's speak a little bit about culture, just briefly. Poor choice of words from my side, sorry about it. Good and bad doesn't mean like, I don't know, early stage startup culture is superior over bank culture. It's good or bad for innovations. And if you have proper culture, let's use the word proper, even average management, they could be successful because the team will lift them up, they will lift up a team, and this is going to be cumulative effect. If you have a bad culture, you can have an excellent management, but it's going to be irrelevant. Unfortunately, like you cannot fix what is broken very deeply. So, as you may see, like I've been speaking about management, about different levels of innovations, and I haven't told a word about managing innovations. Because you actually can't. It's impossible. You cannot manage it. You need to cultivate freedom, you need to create a proper environment, and the only thing you can do is to hope you did enough for this to happen. It's impossible to come to the team and tell, okay, let's innovate. Never work like that. Never. So let's quickly go over this list of things which are related to culture. Do you actually punish for mistakes, or you're using it as a learning opportunity? Perfect example, postmortem culture. Are you using it as a blameless postmortem, or using it to pinpoint, like, this guy fucked up? That's why we had downtime. Let's punish him. If you're using that, people will be afraid. They will not try to do something which is very, very risky. Like they will not do it at all. At some point of time, they will start doing things which are not risky at all. And then you're doomed. Do employees play zero-sum game? Zero-sum game is a game where for one to win, another one needs to lose. If you have this kind of culture in the team or in the company, you end up in a snake pit. Not into innovative company. Just please make sure that for someone to win, you don't need someone else to lose. Do you use authority or arguments? Do you come to the team and tell, okay, do that because I told you? Or do you tell, do that because we have this argument, this argument, this argument, and we have a data for it? If you can explain, it's different. If you use an authority, you will just put a lot of pressure, and it's useless pressure. Do people often disagree? We touched this point. If they completely agree, they probably don't care. Can they speak up, or they just taking it? It's very simple. Can someone during the planning or discussion tell, I'm sorry, this is stupid? If you cannot imagine this in your company, in your team, you're probably a little bit in trouble. Maybe not a little bit. But it's crucial. People need to be able to speak up. They need to be able to disagree if you want to get something out of that. Do you value efforts or the results? It's trivial. Basically, do you want people to sit 8 hours in the office, or do you want them to do their job? Because if you want to sit them in the office, they will sit in the office, and you will get what you optimize for. But you're not optimizing for office. You optimize for the results. So do things which are meaningful. And if you're not giving people opportunity to choose what to work on, they cannot choose what's close to their hearts, and that they cannot do this extra mile, extra effort. And it's very difficult to manage innovations in this case. Everything I've been speaking about is some kind of like ponies and rainbows. Everyone feels happy, you're giving people freedom, and everything is all right. But there are moments, and they will happen, when there's going to be a crisis. Like you can have a trouble with the biggest customers, you can have a production downtime. It could be many different things, and in these moments of troubles, you need to forget about everything I told you and tell, okay, we just need to come out of this. We just need to get to the better side. And then you can reflect on that. In these moments, you need to take a leadership here, and you need to take a decision. And usually, if you did right, if you have proper culture and people are empowered, if you take this everything from them and tell, okay, do what I told you, they will be okay with that. Because they know that things will get back on track very soon. So it's all right to somehow, at some point of time, temporarily switch to another mode. So just a checklist of what to do and what to not to do. I'm going to be like appealing to managers, but you can think if you're an engineer, like what you would like to see from your manager doing. So managers need to focus on people. They need to support them, they need to help them, they need to make sure people, they feel safe. Managers, they need to manage complexity and alignments, not projects and people. People, they don't need to be managed, they need to be supported. So basically, if you hear like micromanagement, if your manager comes to you and like looks over his shoulder asking like, how long? What is the status? That's not where the managers should be. You're missing something. Your relationships not as they should be. Managers need to promote information sharing. And I'm always trying to make sure the teams and the organization I'm working in, they tend to overshare. But the fun part, I never seen information oversharing in my like more than 16 years of experience. People tend to share information, but there is a huge gap between sharing and oversharing, and majority of the companies, they not even on this like sharing, they far below. So just let people tell what they're going to do, and you will know and you will notice that it changes a lot. Managers, they need to maintain routines. It's a grungy work. We need to do it. Someone needs to do it. Like, take responsibility for it, do it. And it's easier said than done, but managers need to judge everything. It's like, do not believe anything. People will tell you, okay, this is an estimate, this is what we need to do, but you need to ask them like, why? They will give you information like, why? Just challenge it because someone needs to do it. Yes, you can feel like an asshole at some point of time, but if you're doing it right, people understand that you basically care and not trying to micromanage it. And if you do it, at some point of time, you feel more comfortable about doing it. And last but not least, you shouldn't confuse business with progress. Sometimes it's better to do nothing than just like making your team busy. Just let them relax. Tell them, I don't want you to do anything specific. It's up to you to choose what you would like to do. People will surprise you. Just try once. I really encourage you to. And let's switch to what not to do. Managers should avoid these cargo cults. Cargo cult is like manager during the weekend read an article that some fancy Silicon Valley startup does daily stand-ups at 9 a.m. So since the next week, everyone does daily stand-ups at 9 a.m. Never works. Absolutely stupid waste of time for everyone. Managers need to avoid controlling and deciding. Give more ownership. Give more freedom to people. Let them decide what to do. Let them decide how to do things. And at some point of time, you can feel like you're losing control, and that's a perfect feeling. That's where you want to go. That's where you want to get. Let the team decide. You shouldn't prevent failures, and you shouldn't protect people from consequences of their decision. If it's not irreversible, and you know that it leads to failure, sometimes you should let the failure happen. People need to get the feedback. They need to learn. So allow it, but then like follow up on that, and let's try to make sure that it was a learning experience overall. Avoid doing yourself. It's my favorite overall. Managers tend to do stuff themselves because they know better. They used to be engineers. They still want to feel worthy. But as a manager, your job is to multiply team efforts and not to add to it. And as you may know, like basic math it's very true, like multiplication always wins over addition. So do not do it yourself, because if you're doing it right now, you're basically stealing from your team in future. In the long run, it doesn't work. And you should avoid interfering as much as possible. Let people do their work. Basically, just let. You may hear and understand that it feels like good scenes, but there is nothing fancy in it. There is no one scene which you need to do and everything starts clicking in and falling in place. Because there is no such scene, basically. You shouldn't search for transformational solution for your problems. There is no such solution. Basically, you need to do simple things consistently, making sure you bring ownership, making sure your people know what to do, making sure that they are supported, making sure that you learn. And all this stuff, it changes things over the time. Just do not expect it to happen overnight. These are simple things, but they are not easy. That's it from my side. Thank you.